Welcome back to Fight Network Studios. Cody Saftik, and we're now joined on the line by the baddest man on the planet. It's Joe Warren, back in action March 4th at Bellator 151. Joe, thanks for stopping by the show. How are your preparations been going so far?
Everything's great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You know what? You've been spending a lot of time at Factory X Muay Thai actually recently, and you know what? The great gym, great role, especially on that last Pittsburgh card with 3 straight wins coming through. What's the gym vibe right now at Factory X?
It's great. Mark Montoya and Factory X, they've been training me, for the last 2 belts, so for the last 4 years. So I've been there with Mark for a while. The gym gets bigger and better every single day. There's just a handful of studs in there that are confident of their technique and their ability. And now Mark's starting to get those guys on the big stage, and they're winning. So everyone's starting to see what a great coach Mark Montoya and what a great team Factory X is.
Now, do you see Factory X as maybe being one of the big gyms in the next couple of years? I mean, one of those big gyms that'll be a destination place to train, so to speak. I mean, they've had a lot of success. And for you, you've trained at Rhino Sports and Greg Jackson's. I mean, what's something that Factory X maybe gives you that you never found at some other gyms you've trained at in the past?
Yeah, Rhino Sport Gallery, that was my gym. That was before I had a coach. So it'd be like me and Scott Jorgensen and Fable would just be fighting each other. No real structure. So, and then, Mark Montoya, head coach of Factory X, found me in Denver, and we started working together. And then I do a few things. I go down and I see Greg sometimes down in Albuquerque, and I think just the difference between Factory X and the other things are Mark Montoya. He just brings a skill set to the table and almost a loyalty. He's a great person, and he's got you. You're the only thing on his mind. He's trying to get you better. He doesn't really care about what's going on with him. He just cares about us winning. He puts a lot of love into his fighters and a lot of time, and that's why the guys go out and perform the way they do. Well,
Mark's obviously one of the great coaches in the game. Do you still talk to Scotty Jorgensen at all? I think he's out in Vegas with Kit Cope now.
Yeah, Scott, I'm not really sure where he is right now. I mean, Scott was one of my best friends, so we haven't had a lot of conversations lately, and that's really sad to me, I like the kid and respect him as much as he can. And same as Kit Cope, Kit helped me a lot also when I started. So I'm not sure where he is. He's usually in Boise with his family. But I think he is training with Kit in Vegas. So, I just wish the best for him.
Okay, absolutely. So you're over in Factory X and definitely starting up another run going here. And it's weird to say starting up another run because, I mean, really when you look at it, you're 6-1 over your last 7. And to be honest, I mean, the only loss in that mix, I mean, very controversial to say the least. Now, you've had about a year since that defeat to Marcos Caldwell last March. Sitting back on it and looking back on it, do you think John McCarthy made the right call? I mean, there was never really a tap to begin with.
Yes, he made the right call. I was in shock that day. I planned on, just beating up Marcus and going home with my belt. Never in my mind thought anything else could happen there. And that's what happens when you roll around with a world champ. With wrestling, you have a problem with jiu-jitsu. You don't roll around with a black belt like that or a world champ. And I did get caught. And at the time, I did not know I was caught. My body just verbally submitted without me physically understanding what was happening, and so I was in shock. And then when I got home and watched, turned on Spike and watched Bellator, I saw me scream, and that was a verbal submission. And I was the first person that tweeted and called John McCarthy and told him I was sorry for yelling at him, that I appreciate him stopping that fight. That I was walking around with no injuries. If he wouldn't have stopped that, I might not have been walking around with no injuries. So, yeah, it really, really sucks. It hurt me really bad, me and my family, to lose that belt and to go out like that. But that being said, MMA is the most unpredictable sport in the world, and that's why they have those high level officials out there like John McCarthy. He knew what was happening, and he saved me. So that's why they really are out there. They're not there to really determine who loses. They're there to save the opponents and just keep us safe.
And are you surprised at all that Bellator never booked the rematch, so to speak? I mean, regardless of the ending of the fight, you do clearly win round one. Round two, I mean, it happened so early on. You are a former champion. You're someone who's a big name for Bellator. You've been a member of the reality show, both as a coach. You've basically been around the organization for a long time. Are you a little surprised that you kind of had to work your way back up to a title shot coming off of that defeat?
Yeah, yes and no. They also it was a big fight for them. Caldwell and Dantes were supposed to fight, November? So like the month after 2 months after my fight, Caldwell, it was strange, I mean, they booked the Caldwell fight against Dantes, which is a rematch also, and then made me come back through there. So, yeah, it kind of sucked, but that's the way it works, it's the game, I mean, it's the MMA game. I mean, I'll do whatever Bellator and Viacom and Spike want me to do for Bellator, and that was what they wanted me to do. They wanted me to have another fight first. I could have probably waited, but, I fight for a living, so it's a job for me, so I need to fight to make money. So when they gave me the opportunity to fight LC, I jumped at that, and we went and got headlined down in Texas, and then they were supposed to fight right again in December right away, and then Dantes pulled out of that fight again, and now we're here right now, or I could be waiting for a rematch right now, or I could fight Darren Caldwell and then get to fight with whoever wins here next week. So that's really where we're at right now. Just kind of one step at a time.
Well, exactly. I mean, you're totally down to earn the title shot, and we're down to watch you do so. Now, in mixed martial arts, there's wrestling, and then there's wrestling. And we saw that definitely in your last performance against LC Davis. This guy's a wrestler. This guy's a solid wrestler. But your wrestling is definitely on another level. I mean, really, when you think about it, certainly on paper, second to none when you really think about it. Now, against Darren Caldwell, this is someone who's well-versed in the wrestling department as well. I'm not saying that his credentials are on the same level as yours, but would you go as far as to say that this is the toughest pure wrestler you faced in your MMA career?
Yes, toughest pure wrestler, yes. I mean, he won a Division I national championship. That's the toughest thing you can do as an athlete, a male athlete, I think, in the world, is to win the Division I title. It's extremely difficult. He's a young stud come in to get a piece of me, and I'm standing here as Bellator's bantamweight gatekeeper. And if you want any kind of titles or get an opportunity to do anything in Bellator, you got to come through me first. So that's usually the point. He is a great wrestler, and us fighting against each other will put two top-tier wrestlers in a Bellator cage, and it should be real exciting for the fans.
And you're a proud guy. I mean, going into this fight, is there something that you want to prove to yourself? You know what? I want to take down Darren Caldwell. Or is it more of you know what? I'll take it how I can get it. I know more, mixed martial arts, so to speak. I can beat this guy wherever the fight goes place. But does a part of you say, you know what? He's a Division I champion. I'd love to take him down.
No, I'm a world champ. I'm not just a Division I champ. So if he probably wants to beat me more into wrestling than I would ever do there. I have no real. I'm going out for a win. Darren Caldwell's just a body in front of me to go through. That's the way I see it. I don't really I don't watch a lot of tapes. I don't put a lot of credibility with who the person is. I just make him a body where I need to go through. And he's just another body out there. He's just another undefeated stud that I'm going to get in that Bellator cage. And I think, I don't plan, I can take anybody down in the world. I don't really care about that. I care about the win. So I would like to, I'd personally, like I say every time, I'd like to knock somebody out. I'd like to finish someone. That's what I work at every single day. But that being said, most unpredictable sport in the world, you get in there, you never know what's going to happen. And usually you revert to what your pedigree is, and that's wrestling. So possibly we get into a wrestling match. And that being said, I win that match because I believe I'm the best MMA wrestler there is in the game. There's two, there's a difference between jiu-jitsu and MMA jiu-jitsu, and there's a difference between wrestling and MMA wrestling. And we're not wrestling in a college gym. We're fighting in a cage. So I believe I have, the advantage, definitely.
Now, final question for you. I mean, as you mentioned, Bellator is doing a fantastic job of putting on big fights and exciting fights, so to speak. Now, you're someone who's competed at 145 pounds as well in the past, not so much recently. If a big fight was to present itself in the Bellator cage, if a big name at 145 pounds was in the organization, would you flatter the idea of going back up to featherweight, or are you comfortable at 135?
Well, I held the world title for Bellator at 45 and at 35. So 45 is just too big for me. You know, I that was the reason we got away from that weight. You know, I was fighting Pat Kern and Pitbull, and they were, you know, 6 inches, 25 pounds bigger than me. So it didn't really matter. You know what I'm saying? When you're rolling around or wrestling with a bigger man, you know, the weight difference is a factor in 5 rounds. So, my wife kind of said, you know, if we're going to keep doing this, you're going to fight at your weight. Remember when I fought 145 at Bellator, they didn't even have a 135. 145 was the only belt that they had. So I had if I was going to come to Bellator, I had to fight 145. I talked to Bellator, and they've gave me the opportunity when they did put a 135 weight class in there that I could cut down. So as soon as they did, I did cut down and win that belt. So I think, you know, for safety and for the longevity of my sport and maybe my brain, we're staying at 35.
And your wife's a very smart lady.
You know, I mean, if you know, money talks, so you never know.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, your wife's been around for a long time with you in terms of she's gone through a lot of world-class camps and a lot of championship victories as well with you. So always glad to see it. And Joe, really thanks for taking the time. Always rooting for you. You're one of the good guys in the sport, and we can't wait to see you March 4th back in action. Bellator 151. Check him out. The baddest man on the planet, Joe Warren.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, Cody.